Folks, what's going on? Hope everyone's doing well. Appreciate you tuning in to another episode of the pod. If you're new to the channel, please toss a like on the video. Subscribe if you've not yet. You could check out all our episodes every week. Normally, we post them on Wednesdays. We're a day late this week. We're getting this out a little later. We wanted to wait until after the Barcelona-Napoli game because we wanted to fully review and break down all the tributes to Diego Armando Maradona, which took place this weekend. And I was gonna do that, and then I realized that if I did that, this is a sensitive subject, but I don't want to be insensitive here. But if I did that, I would have had to request assisted suicide from the Canadian government. So we didn't do that, unfortunately, and that might have all been for nothing. But we did wait a little later. We wanted to kind of wait and see what happened in that Napoli-Barcelona game. We wanted to see how their new coach did. Their third of the season. De Laurentiis is unhinged, increasingly. And Roma, one of their rivals to the north, will soon be bought by the Saudi investment fund. Interesting. It is interesting to weigh these two things against one another. To consider how one side who will continue to be in the hands of a crazy Italian man is being run. Compare that to how Roma it is being pitched, to be run. It's interesting, Right now, Kanye West is in Milan. He has been associating pretty closely with Inter's Ultras in a number of ways. He was alleged to have been at a game the other day. And a guy in Taranto, in the third division, is crying because his team don't have a stadium and have to move. And he cried about it until he got his way. The viewing experience of an Italian football fan, the stuff you'll get to see your team involved in, is what we call a spectrum. It is what we call a spectrum, folks. And here we are. We have so much to discuss on the pod this week, man. It starts with the fact that Kanye West now, a guy accused of certain, political extremities and being a little unstable, out of the blue now is associating with a group that is not exactly good for PR if you want to shed the Nazi brand. The Ultras of Internazionale Milano Football Club. And it's just one of those things where you can't write it. You can't make it up. It would be too weird. It would be too weird to write it. And yet here we are in real life. Kanye West, allegedly, at San Siro. I'm Sam Adamo, and this is the Bordello. Folks, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the pod. We have much to get to on the show this week. We're leaning very calcio heavy on the pod, this 268th iteration of the show, which I know makes a lot of you guys happy. There's a lot going on in the football world in particular, which we're going to have to break down. It is a week of juxtaposition. That is how I'm framing this. There are some interesting stories on both spectrums of the Italian football paradigm. I'm without a muse this week. Dilo is not here. I'm rolling solo. So it's just you and I talking about the stuff going on in the world right now. Apparently I have a lisp. I haven't noticed. I hadn't noticed until weeks ago. Now I hear it all the time. I put it on there, obviously, for a second there, but I did it because I felt it coming on and I leaned into it. Almost as a form of self-mockery. See, now that I'm using all of these S words, I'm kind of hearing a little bit of it, but I'm also not hearing any of it. And I'm thinking that anyone who's accused me of having a lisp is crazy. But then there will always be that one person. There will be one person every quarter. There's a quarterly TikTok comment that makes fun of the lisp. And my girlfriend recently told me, well, no, of course you do. She's known all this time. And she's found it endearing. She hasn't said anything. I always figured if I had a lisp, I wouldn't be able to pull women. The only reason I would have ever had the confidence to approach her years ago was because I thought I sounded normal. Apparently I had a lisp, and I was just blissfully unaware of it. And I guess it was endearing, it was cute, whatever. I don't know. I'm without a muse this week because young D'Lo goes to Concordia University, which is the far and away trashier of the two English language universities in Montreal. It's not the school that I chose to go to because I valued my career. Now, again, I don't use my degree, and that's neither here nor there, but I could if I want to. And that helps me sleep at night, knowing that I didn't go to Concordia University, where they have exams on weekends. They're on reading week next week. They're going to have March break coming up, spring break, and right after spring break starts, they got 2 exams that weekend. D'Lo's got 2 exams to write that weekend, so he's studying, unfortunately. So he gets a pass, but Concordia University could lick my rectum and stick it where the sun don't shine. It's a great institution for anyone who's playing junior hockey at 21, plays a senior year of junior hockey, still has not started school, is now at a point where everyone else they know is entering the workforce, and they think, Christ, I've got to get something going here. I don't want to stop playing hockey. I'll enter the university college hockey system here in Canada, and I'll play a year of hockey at Concordia, which is effectively a gap year before they drop out and try to go pursue hockey in Europe or lay drywall. or they'll see it out. They'll see, until they become a gym teacher or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. We need gym teachers. We do. But they'll see it out and they'll play till they're my age, 26, and still playing college hockey. That is what Concordia is good for. Yeah, this week they are robbing me of my muse. Kanye West, I think, is using his wife as a muse. I think she's Italian. Her name is Bianca. I believe she's an Aussie Italian, which may be like in the ranking of Italian diaspora people, they might be, can I say, the least Italian of them all? Is that hearsay? Now, again, I'm breaking my own rule here where I don't quantify Italianness, Italianità. We don't do that. It's a binary thing. You either are or you are not. A couple of weeks ago, we had Gizmo. Actually, no, a week ago, Gizmo, the producer from Stereo Serie A, who was on the pod. This would have been episode 266, so a couple of pods ago. Hope you guys have enjoyed the bonus pods, by the way. I did a pod as a guest as well on the Pantelis podcast. He's a very funny local comedian. He's a good guy. You check that out if you have not. You just fucking search it. It'll come up. Panteli. I don't know why I'm telling you to spell it. It's fucking whatever. Listen to it or don't. Doesn't matter. I've been slaving away for you guys, so I'm hoping you'll give me the mulligan here on being a day late. This is going to come out not on Wednesday. There's no way this is out by the time I hit the hay tonight. We're recording this, just for context, in the aftermath of Napoli Barcelona. I don't know why I thought it would be a good idea to wait till the end of that game. I had fears that I was going to come out and say stuff that was going to seem dated if the game went a certain way, which I've never cared about. I've not cared about like talking about games for a while, but it just, I don't know. I just had this gut feeling this week. Anyway, but before we get into that, that's for down the line here. That was a big lisp there. I don't know if you guys caught that, but it's there. It comes and goes. It is what it is. Before we get into that down the line, just to say, like Gizmo last week was talking about how he's like an Italian citizen. You are or you aren't. He called Puglia a Puglia. Now in English it is Apulia, but he misread it. He had a couple of pops. That's not really fair. But again, there's no, listen, if you got the paperwork, there's no wrong approach to going about your life as an Italian man. You could do or say whatever you want. And whatever the fucking haters say, bro. Whatever the haters say. Doesn't really matter. You got the paperwork. That's all that matters. Now, I'm not crapping on the kid. I'm saying that if anyone had seen that and scoffed, they could kind of eat it unless they got the paperwork also. Now, of course, again, there are a bunch of people that were born there who had to renounce the citizenship to obtain one in, I don't know, say Canada. That was a thing back in the day. You'd think those people are more Italian than, a kid born here who gets the passport through blood right. But that's not the point. The point is, again, listen, that's my rule. We don't talk about levels of Italianness. Bro, I'm so Albanian. Bro, I'm so fucking Greek. I don't even have a passport. That's the thing I think I talked about once on the pod like last year. There was an old coach I had who used to coach CF Montreal, formerly the Impact, who was this Greek guy. And he was like the technical director of my local club, my local like AAA club. Like my local club that has like a AAA team, which is like the highest amateur level of soccer in Quebec. He was this Greek guy, and he would say, my wife's so Greek, she doesn't even have a passport. Like that makes her Greek, Basically, whenever you get into measuring how insert nationality you are, what you wind up doing is you just wind up trying to like create a straw man or like a caricature of what an uneducated, illiterate grandmother would be like. Does that make sense? Bro, I'm so Albanian. I wear tracksuits and the gold pinky ring because I'm Albanian. Whatever that means. I don't even know if that's an Albanian stereotype, but that's like this weird like I don't know. It's like a cartoon, It is like a cartoon. So Kanye West's wife is she might be an Australian Italian, so kind of a pseudo-Italian. Yeah, just all that to say, that whole side tangent to say Kanye West's wife is a lady from Australia, Italian name, and you see, she is Kanye's muse. That's the thing. So D'Lo not being here right now is a problem because you guys don't know this. You might think that we have a very healthy dynamic, on the pod, but what you don't know is I treat him like my sex slave off the pod. And this is an uncomfortable thing to some of you, but I'm going to just let you guys in on the dynamic between us is I tell D'Lo to wear whatever I want. You never see him. None of you guys know what he looks like. He's often back behind the camera wearing nothing except an apron. Okay? An apron with the Statue of David's genitalia right here. The Italian flag, green, white, red. Bare ass. Bare ass. Like a hospital gown. That's how I like D'Lo to look. He is my muse. When I'm looking at him, I'm deriving inspiration from him. He's not here, and that's Concordia's fault. Kanye West was religious for a while. He was religious, and his music sucked, okay? Now he married a designer from Australia, okay? And he's going around in public with no shoes on, and she's barefoot, and he's posting pictures of her ass on Instagram, and she's his, like, sex slave. And his music fucking slaps now, okay? To the point that we've forgotten about the Hitler comments last year. I mean, what's bringing that shit back is his association with the Inter Ultras now. So now Kanye West released an album like a week ago. By the way, I didn't see this because I live in Canada and our broadcasting system here is, I'm going to try to say gay less. Our broadcasting system here is, it's not gay, it's a little, can I say trans? It doesn't know what it wants to be. One year it's Canadian content. Another year we're getting the American channels. That was a big thing one year, is we got the American commercials one year. I don't know if that makes sense. Canadian broadcasting is trans. I'm not trying to say it's gay. How's this? It's queer. It's queer. It's not necessarily gay. It's on the spectrum. It's on the spectrum of people that want you to know what they, this is what I, here's my identity. It's one of those. They're a little, Here's what I have to say about the sexuality of people. Here's my read. Is really, we're all gay. And society conditions us to want to, preserve our bloodline and procreate with women. So I didn't see this commercial, but apparently Kanye West put out like a commercial shot on a smartphone. This is almost 2 weeks ago now, and it killed it. And I read a report that apparently it generated like 19 or 20 million in revenue. I read it on a website called actually Black Enterprise. Is that right? Yeah, blackenterprise.com. And I checked other stories on Black Enterprise. Get this, other stories on Black Enterprise. I'm going from memory here, but other stories on blackenterprise.com. Right next to Kanye West sells $19 million worth of sneakers was Drake wins $3 million betting on the Super Bowl. And such a lady became an elected member of a Tennessee school district. These were all news stories in sequence on blackenterprise.com. Black man wins money gambling on the Super Bowl. Black man sells sneakers, makes bank. And some local like fucking Memphis neighborhood elected a black woman to the school district. It was an interesting website. Check them out. I think the article I saw was written by a guy named like Big Cedric, something like that. He had an alias. He had a rapper name. It was great. He had an urban name. Can I say urban, or is urban more insulting now? Is urban somehow coded for but black? I'll just say black. He had a black name. I'm saying black because I don't think like one of his I don't think if he went to a church, I don't think if his family was having a conversation with like a white family after the service, that like their son, the white son, would have gone, we're going to give you like, from now on you go by this alias. If he did, that's a problem. If this little kid from catechism is like, maybe it's like a kid who, it could have been a white kid who liked rap, I guess. But usually those are Jews. You see, it's a lot of the Jewish white boys that like rap for some reason, that like writing about it the most. So they wouldn't really be at church. I'm going to go out on a limb and suppose, I'll presuppose that it was given to him by a guy who, I'm not going to say kin, a guy who looked like him perhaps. Anyway. Here we go. Just I found it here, just so I don't sound crazy. It was written by a guy named Big Ced. Cedric Big Ced Thornton. Okay, but Big Ced, that's Cedric Thornton, Big Ced wrote, Drake wins $2.3 million betting on Super Bowl game. They wrote an article about it. Kanye West is back, man. He's got a new album out, and it fucking slaps. It's really good. Like it's pleasing on the ear. And there's a reason we're talking about Kanye West here. There's a crossover here with Italian football. Not anything that I or any of you guys had on your bingo card for the Serie A season this year. And this is the shit that you're not going to get anywhere else, by the way. This is why you listen to the pod. This is one of these weeks that the Bordello exists for. This is one of these weeks that you're not going to go to journalists, okay, to hear about this. You're not going to go to a Fantacalcio podcast to hear about this. Respectfully, you're not going to go to IFTV to hear about this, okay? This is not a week where Sam's going to talk about, I don't know, other stuff in the world that's on his brain. This is a week where Sam has to talk about Italian football, okay? Because Kanye West released an album recently, and a couple of tracks featured Inter's Ultras singing a chorus in the background. Kind of like a Gregorian chant, but not like that. Like modern. Like an Ultras chorus, and he souped it up. And I'm not going to play it because Kanye West is a litigious psychopath who I think will, it's safe to say, if I play more than 2.5 seconds of any of his songs, will have people people. I don't know. I don't know, virtually extort me and hold the episode in jail. So we're not going to put it out there, but you can fucking look it up. Basically, in the background of a couple of songs, he's got Inter's ultras singing. Inter played in the Champions League yesterday at the time of recording. By the time this is out, it's a couple days ago. So this week in the Champions League, Inter played against Atleti. They beat them 1-0. And Kanye West showed up, allegedly. That's what the news stories will tell you, is that Kanye West was in attendance because his wife was there. And there was a man, you see, we don't know because there was a man in a balaclava. Now, again, that's very on brand, but what you guys don't realize is, so the reason that the pod is late here, the reason that I'm going to come clean here. I said that I wanted to wait until after the Napoli game to record this week, since I was without a muse. And I wished to, if I was going to go solo, just have all the latest news and kind of talk about that. Make that the focus of the week. So I said that I wanted to wait until Napoli's coach could play his first game before podding. But in reality, I just flew back in from Milan. I was at San Siro and I put on a balaclava. And you see what happened was, I didn't see Kanye West there, by the way. I was at San Siro. I didn't see Kanye West there. He was not in attendance. He was not present. I just see, so I have this deep-seated thing where I've always wanted to wear blackface. So I thought I can wear blackface. That's not good. But I could kind of go around and look like a guy who's cosplaying. I'll just put like a balaclava and a hood on my head. And, Kanye's wife, she reached out to me. She said, help me. She just sent me a DM that said, help me. That's it. She said, help me. And then I saw it quickly and it unsent. She unsent it. It was a cry for help. It was a cry for help. A lot of her friends, apparently. Can I call her BB? I'll call her BB. She's Bianca, but, she reached out to me. I went there to save her life. I could say we're on a first name basis. BB's friends are a little concerned about her safety. Apparently, she's cut contact with all of them. And apparently, she's increasingly recluse. Excuse me. She's recluse. She's reclusive. Recuse or recluse? This is one of those moments, this is a teaching moment. Recluse or recuse? To be recluse, a person who lives a solitary life and tends to avoid other people. Okay, I got it right. So, recluse. Excellent. We're learning here, by the way. It's important to admit when you don't know something. It's part of being a human. Kanye West's problem is he doesn't admit when he doesn't know something. If Kanye doesn't know something, he does what the kids call waffle. He waffles. So if he doesn't really have an idea of what he's doing on a given day, he just kind of goes rogue. And he starts tearing clothes off his wife. And he takes pictures of her. As would a person holding a hostage captive who's extorting her family for ransom. And he'll post those pictures of her on the internet. And she'll be wearing nothing but a loincloth. And so I think it wore on her a little bit. Now again, this lady looks to not have much going on behind her eyes. She looks like she could have been lobotomized. I don't know. That was my read. But again, she sent me a DM and said, help me. And I got the message immediately. And as a fellow, it was my duty as an Italian to save her from the jowls of this man who is now maligning himself. And he's he's some of his, some of the things he's done in recent years have been maligned, but nothing worse than associating with Inter and their ultras as a Juventino. That was my thinking. So I said, I have to save her from these dogs because, you see, Inter are getting all the good calls from the refs this year. VAR doesn't qualify. Inter doesn't qualify for VAR. Okay? Simone Inzaghi last week was banned on the touchline. He called the players. He had the audacity to call the players in the changing room. Strictly forbidden. He did it at halftime. No bueno. He cannot do that. Not allowed. So I think Inter as a club, as an institution, are scum. And so I saw that this woman's husband... Now again, I didn't take any personal issue with the nudity and with the objectifying and with like the devil worship. I thought that was all fine. But when he said, I'm associating with Inter and their ultras, when he chose them to be on the track instead of Juve, I said, this is a problem. She needs to be saved. And she sent me that message. Help me. So I flew. I didn't even fly. I mean, the only flying I did was I flew down to the water. Like, metaphorically, I was flying. I flew to the water, and I swam across the Atlantic Ocean overnight. I mean, I was in such a state of hypnosis almost. I mean, I was possessed to help this fellow Italian lady. And I arrived on the coast of Sardinia, actually, and then I warmed up a little bit. I stopped for a cigarette break, and I'm in Sardinia at that point, right? I'm a little tired. I mean, I swam across the Atlantic Ocean, so I need a little nicotine hit. So I take, I smoke a couple of cigarettes. I'm chain smoking cigs, and then I do a little warm up the quads, and then I plyometric jump across the, is it Tyrrhenian Sea? Ionian Sea? It's not the Ionian, it might be the Tyrrhenian Sea. That body of water, I jumped across it and landed in Tuscany. And then I just traversed the mountains that morning until I got to Milan. And I found her in the stadium. And I had to go in disguise. Kanye was nowhere to be found, by the way. It was me. Basically, so what I'm saying, Kanye wasn't in the stadium. You see, that was me in the stadium. I had a balaclava on. It was a covert mission, and I posed as Kanye. What I did was I actually stuck into the hotel room first, and I tied him down, and I fed him his meds. He's been off the meds, allegedly. He looks great, by the way. I mean, the problem with the meds was I think he was getting a little husky, and he didn't like that. He looks good now, so he's off the meds now. But again, when he decided to align himself with Inter Milan Football Club, a soccer team which the club that I support has deemed to be a rival and is deemed to be a bunch of clowns and so on, I follow the party line and I said, no good. Now he's lost his mind. This is a man who last year said, and again, I'm gonna make this very clear so that this doesn't get clipped. I'm quoting what Kanye said. YouTube algorithm, anyone who wants to cut this, in 3 years down the line, if I'm doing a fucking bar show in Boise, Idaho, if I should be so lucky, and someone wants to, I don't know. I'm quoting Kanye, who is a man who little over a year ago said, I love Hitler. Again, I know that I just said it and it's now in the YouTube algorithm and on the pod, someone is now saying those words, I love the H-man. I probably should have worded it that way, but I'm not editing it. This is what it is. We're very close to being monetized. We're still not, so this doesn't affect us. Dilo has still not seen a penny from his first year at the pod. He's just celebrating his anniversary now. He's coming up on a year, and he's not here because of Concordia. Fucking plumbers. So where the fuck am I? Where am I in this story? Right, so Kanye West, the worst thing he's done, again, a man who said he likes the H-man. Not likes, he said loves, actually. Which, by the way, that's almost better than saying he likes him. If he says, yeah, I like Hitler, then it sounds like he said, yeah, I like him. Not a bad guy. Hey, listen, not for nothing. Sounds New Jersey in my mind. Yeah, not for nothing. I like him a little bit. He's Hitler, but it reminds me of my grandfather. My grandfather was named Adolfo, I actually know an Adolfo, family friend of ours. My godmother's husband is a great guy. He's named Adolfo. He's named after, I don't know, probably his grandfather or something. And his parents, I guess, made the judgment call. It was the 60s. So, World War II was in the distant past, but all the documentaries and all of the, I don't know if there were any Holocaust museums yet. There might have been, but, they chose to not kill the name. I reckon if his son has any children, he will not be naming them after his father, the italicized version of Adolf. But there's still a few of them hanging around, So I don't know. So maybe, but whatever. Maybe you got an Adolf in your family, you got an Adolfo in your family, and you go, hey, I like him. That's worse than saying I love him, because Kanye was saying I'm so Christian, bro. I'm so Christian. I love him. I love the H man. I'm not gonna say it again. I'm not gonna be on a I can't say those words in that exact sequence. Unfortunately. I more than once. I think once is probably already. I don't know why. I've just been reading about how the YouTube algorithm is gonna. I don't know. Is coming to get you. It's out. It's got it out for you. I don't know how true that is. But in any event, Kanye did say that last year. But what bothered me the most was that he put Inter's Ultras on his album. I found that unacceptable, and I rappelled in to the stadium in full balaclava. Everyone just honestly, I wasn't even trying to pose as Kanye. I was just trying to save this woman, and I didn't want my face on TMZ. They just assumed I was Kanye. So, and there was also the blackface thing. I mean, in the back of my mind, I thought, hey, I looked at myself in the mirror and was like, I look a little like Kanye, I guess, and this is something he would wear. Funny. Anyway. That's all I thought. Is okay, funny. I look a little like I'm wearing something that he would have worn. And that made me feel a little like him. And I was like, this is kind of like doing blackface, but I'm not actually doing it, You ever think about if mascots had I don't know if the guy, you ever think about how you just never see the man under the suit? You just be a sweaty motherfucker on drugs or it'd just be funny if a mascot it'd be funny if a mascot was just black, but he's like a hockey mascot in Toronto, because all the people that go to watch the Leafs largely are just like these business guys from Scotiabank and RBC, and they're in suits, and they're these hosers from Pickering, Ontario, and they're coming in to watch the Leafs. And it's just some fucking roadman from Scarborough or Brampton who's dressed as Carlton the Bear, the Arizona Coyotes mascot is definitely a Mexican kid, I don't really know. Mascots are funny. I just, or maybe they're like they're having a miserable time, Imagine taking an edible and then just putting on the mascot costume and just running around like a psychopath. You're having a fucking horrible time in there, and then the people on the outside are like, wow, he's really committed to the bit. He's really committed to the character. Fucking Youppies running around. Or Gritty, the guy in Philly, he's running around with his head in his hands. His eyes are, bobbing all over the place. He's like fighting people, and meanwhile he's having war flashbacks inside. He's like a veteran from Afghanistan. On Vicodin. Shit. So anyway, that was me. So people assumed it was Kanye West. I see the stories. I fucking imagine my surprise when I come back. I'm like, I gotta record the pod this week. I gotta get back right now. And I fucking pull up stories on my phone when I land, and I'm seeing Kanye West was at the game. No, Kanye was in his room being drugged to have some sense slapped into him. You understand? And greater sense prevailed. Common sense prevailed. Because Kanye West was supposed to perform in Milan, apparently, and he was planning on having the Ultras, Inter's Ultras, sing in the background. He was planning on having a chorus of 500 of them, and apparently he canceled on a whim. It's come out today. He canceled on a whim. So that's it. It's off. He's come back to his senses. Some people are going to look at that and say, Inter's Ultras, who are notoriously, Lega Nord, notoriously, they're quite far right. They're, most of them are. Most of them are up north. We cannot conflate Inter, international, brothers of the world, this brand of being like a club loved by all. No, we cannot conflate that with the people in the city whose primary, mode of economic activity is, no one really knows. That's the thing with these people. Some of them do have jobs. A lot of them don't. They're just kind of like professional coasters. And they wind up in, the stand with a bunch of like-minded brothers screaming stuff that they deem, important, menacing, not very intellectual usually. There's a couple of ways this could have played out. I mean, Kanye could have just warned them down, right? And he's black and they're racist, so they might have just been like, that's it, we're fucking done listening to this fucking baboon. Literally, that might have been like their thinking. It's not me saying this is these horrible people's. I'm paraphrasing what they might have said. Kanye West is like trying to dictate the terms and they're like, I can't do a Milan accent. What does a Milan accent sound like, Senti signore, no, questo no. Non ce la facciamo questo, no, I don't know. They wouldn't heed to his demands, perhaps. I don't know, but the negotiations between Kanye West and Inter's Ultras, mind-boggling. I mean, listen, there was actually a report I saw the other day. It might have been on like Rai. I'm going to pull this up if I can. I don't know if I'm going to overlay this. I might. This pod takes a while to come out. Assume it's because overlaying this shit's going to take some time, but it might be worth it. I don't know. Let me pull this up here. There was so just to give you guys context, this is why I prefer to have D'Lo here, obviously, but here we go. So there was a news story the other day after Kanye's album came out, and it became known that he had used Inter's Ultras in a couple of songs. Here we go. This is Telegiornale, I think it's Rai. Here we go. I'll translate. Nord dell'Inter nel nuovo album di Kanye West, il controverso musicista statunitense con simpatie naziste, Marco Signorelli. That's the extent to which I'm comfortable playing any of that shit because Kanye's probably going to claim it as his own now. Apparently he credited them with, I don't know, like a composer acknowledgement on the song. But that anchor was just reading from her teleprompter. It said, the American rapper with Nazi, I don't know, who sympathizes with Nazism, with Nazi tendencies, with Nazi leanings. The Nazi-leaning American rappers is the way they worded it. Now, here's the thing. If you think Kanye's a Nazi, no. But also, I mean, listen, if you look at some of the quotes just on their own, you could see why there might be like a legal case where you could just claim that and it's not defamation. I mean, when you come out and say, I love Hitler, it's about as like black and white as it can get. And the funny thing is now it's obviously preposterous. Like, he didn't align himself with Inter because they're Nazis, which they are, kind of, but not really, but kind of. That's how I'm going to word it. Not really, but kind of. It's not because they are not really, but kind of Nazis that Kanye aligned himself with them. He aligned himself with them because, you see, he just thought it was cool, but there was no like political link there. It's just a thing that he decided to do because he's nuts and he's lost his mind and he does insane things with his music and it kind of sounds cool. But it is a fun It is fun that now, like, this guy who came out and said, I love the big guy, I love the H-man, is now associating with a group of people who, likewise, pledge allegiance to the H-man. It's one of the times that you just got to say, let it play out and watch. Get the popcorn ready and let's enjoy the show. Let's see how this all continues to play out. And play out it is. He was supposed to perform with them and they bailed. I guess they couldn't come to any sort of agreement. I don't know. The thing with Kanye West. Now here's the thing. Here's the thing with Italians, actually, generally, is they love American culture and Black American culture. Now, I'm going to be very delicate with this, but Black American culture. Can I say urban culture? Again, it's the second time I say urban on the pod. I don't know. Urban studies, I think, is a thing in university. And if there's anywhere that's going to, if there's any place, if there's any part of society that's going to avoid using any words, that if me, a white-appearing guy, I could refute that term, but, white appearing guy. If me as a white appearing guy uses that word, is it problematic? Well, the universities will tell me that. And I think they've got urban studies. So I'm going to say urban. Italian people love American urban. Black. Urban. Culture. They love Kobe Bryant. They love LeBron James. They love LeBron James even though he's a sellout and even though he's how do we word this? LeBron is he's a little bit of a sellout. Yeah. LeBron's a sellout. Italians don't care. LeBron James. You're an Italian soccer player, you see LeBron James, you take a picture with him. That's most people in the world, by the way. But many Europeans, actually, overall, Europeans have this idea of American urban culture where they put it on a pedestal, they're fascinated by it, and it's largely rooted in the fact that they don't understand a lot of what's being said. Like in music, they don't understand what's being said. And that's not a statement on Ebonics. Although, to be fair, there are a lot of Americans who probably don't even get a lot of what's said in rap. I'm not saying they don't understand the songs. I'm saying that there's some stuff which may get, can I say, lost in translation? I don't know. It is like a different dialect, right? Fuck me. I mean, sometimes you hear, sometimes you hear a person who sounds exactly like you sing, and you words will be lost on you. You'll fuck up the recital, karaoke style, right? So a lot of people do have trouble understanding rap. That's not what I'm talking about here, though. I'm not talking about English speakers who can't understand rap because they can't understand Ebonics. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's just a language barrier where people in Spain and people in France, people in Italy don't speak don't speak English. Some do, but they don't. Some do, but they don't. Not enough to break down music, generally. So stuff gets lost on them. Kobe Bryant probably, he met a very sad end. His daughter died as well. That's very sad. Seems like he was a few steps away from, getting convicted of some kind of not very nice sexual crime. Not quite Danny Alves level, but, that ilk. And that just gets washed over. It, European people like to kind of put these American figures up on a pedestal as cool names, I guess. So when Kanye West is in the stadium, okay, or alleged to be in the stadium, we've established that it was me, but whatever. Let's just say the narrative will, continue to be propagated that it was Kanye in the stadium and not me. So let's just go on that premise. Let's just pretend that Kanye was in the stadium for a sec. Kanye's in the stadium. People think that's cool. People think that, first and foremost, that's cool. Perché? Perché è un genio. Because he's a genius. All right. Why? Oh, his music is great. Okay, do you understand the lyrics? Well, no, not really, but he's fucking Kanye West. He was married to Kim Kardashian. He's a big name. There is a real, like, when you're a European country, you're small. So when anyone famous comes to your country, you're like, oh my God, to what do we owe the honor? Adam Sandler's here in Estonia watching a basketball game. Well, that's something. This is a big deal. That's going to move the needle for, a day or two in that little country. So Kanye being at this game was, turned into a big deal, and it became like a meme. It was a memeable moment. I'm going to toss up the meme from Cosenza. I'm going to pull this up here. Cosenza. So this image here that I'm pulling up here that I just got here in front of me. Funnily enough, now, some people are going to say this is like a doctored image made to look like the guy who was, dressed up the way he was dressed up in the stadium at San Siro the other day. Kanye West, allegedly Kanye West, dressed up like this, right? You see what I'm looking at. Okay. For perspective for listeners who aren't watching on YouTube, this is a guy in the Cosenza Curva. Okay, you have people in the Cosenza Calcio Curva, and there's a dude in a black hoodie with the fucking balaclava. Now, this looks like it's Kanye. Funnily enough, this is just a man in blackface, actually, is what this is. That's all that is. This is a guy in blackface, what you're looking at. This is not a digitally doctored image, okay, where Kanye's head was superimposed on a guy in a Cosenza jacket. This is just a guy in Cosenza in blackface. That's all this is. But so people are going to the stadium in Cosenza now, and they're fucking, saying, hey, guarda chi sono Kanye West. And they're fucking, going blackface, and Cosenza doesn't know any better, so they're taking pictures and posting it online and saying, haha, we're participating in the bit, the joke, But I want you guys to, for a second here, okay, weigh this, whole Kanye thing against the guy in Taranto, the old grandfather in Taranto, who made the rounds in the past couple of days. If you don't know what I'm talking about, buckle in, okay? Papa's here. I'm going to explain to you what's going on in fucking Puglia, in that godless heel of the boot in Italy, where people go on vacation and they get the fuck right out, okay? Nobody moves there within Italy. Okay? No one moves there. The people that move there are Albanian. That's it. That's all. And that's fine. But, it's fine. Sure. They're cool. They're cool people. We get along with them. It'll be fun to see how the summer plays out with them in, our Euro group. But that's all this is, by the way. So this animosity, I don't have any, no animosity toward them. There's no undertone to anything I'm saying. There's no problem with them. I'm a little apprehensive of the enemy. I'm a little aloof to them for the next few months. They're not our friends. In a couple of months, we're going to have to, we're all going to have to curse them one day and kind of hope that their mothers all, horrible things befall them for 90 minutes, for 2 hours, maybe a day. You get a whole day, actually. In the preamble, you don't want to see them. The Albanian guy's talking about, bro, I'm Albanian, That's supposed to impress you. Well, we gotta block those people out for a day. So I'm just, mentally preparing myself for that. That's all that is. But, Puglia, man, yeah, not the most fun place to live in Italy, from what I understand. Now, I would like to, for a second, compare the top echelons of Italian football, where it's like a couple of clubs who are just cool enough to be featured on a Kanye West song. And by the way, that's cool even for them. Like, this is a big deal for Inter and, for that group. But still, it would be a lot weirder if, Kanye had done it with the Taranto Ultras. You know what I'm saying? There's only a couple of clubs that are really getting this done with. Taranto is one of the biggest cities in Italy. It's like the 10 or 15 largest cities in Italy. I think they've not played a fucking game in Serie A, I think, ever. If they have, it's not been, it legitimately may not have happened since my father's been alive. My dad was born in the 60s, okay? We're talking like a team that's been languishing, okay? Just waiting to die. Just look at the good things that happen to you when you're an Inter fan. You get featured on a Kanye song. That's cool. And then, this isn't even meant to be like a north-south thing, but just compare being a fan of Inter, okay? Like a blue-chip Italian club with being a fan of your local team who is still like situated in one of the largest clubs the club is situated in one of the largest fucking cities in the country. That is all. But there's a guy, this old man who's 84 years old. And will I play it? Sure, I'll play it. Fuck it. I'll roll the tape. Let me look this guy up. This old guy named Carmine, who's from Taranto, basically just cried. I won't even. You know what? Fuck it. I will play it actually, because I'm gonna want you guys to see what he looks like. Look at this, guys. Guys, I'm fucking running on fumes here. Sorry, this is no deal to pull shit up. Fucking fresh off a flight from Milan. Here we go.
Mia partita qui a Taranto, almeno a 40 chilometri. Dovete fare di tutto che io non posso mancare. Quello che mi resta da vivere sono pochi anni. Perché me li dovete togliere? Il gusto di vedere il mio Taranto, il mio colore. Datemi da fare, se no vi maledirò per l'eternità quando sarò lassù. Grazie di tutto. Per favore, sono 75 anni che...
Okay, so his whole thing is he says, I've been coming to the stadium for 75 years. What the hell's going on with the club? Basically, okay, you know what? I gotta give better context here. Back in September, Foggia was playing Taranto, local derby. Foggia in Serie C have a traveling legion of fans light the Taranto stadium on fire. That's basically the short of it, okay? Their stadium is cooked, literally and figuratively. It's done. It needs major renovation. So Taranto are without a home. They've decided, I guess, I don't know, with immediate effect. I don't even know where they were planning on playing, but there were rumors that they would be playing somewhere in some stadium. They got a deal 300 miles away, okay, to play their home games. Now, this is very far, right? It's a long way to travel if you're a local fan, but also you're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. And I think the team just wants to get the stadium and infrastructure fixed, get it back up and running, get it, passable. And for that to be the end of it. So this old man is saying, why are you guys doing this? Why are you guys playing 300 kilometers away? What the fuck? This is crazy. I'm not going to be able to watch them play. They're the only reason I have to live. If you don't fix this, I'll curse you when I'm dead. I'm going to curse you forever is what he said, which is great. Now, there are two approaches. Okay, there's the wrong one, which is to say, grande nonno Carmine, passion, football, beautiful. And there's the other one, which is to say, this is your grandfather if he never fucking moved to Canada, okay? I want you guys to take a look at this guy. This is your grandfather's brother who stayed back in Italy and lost his goddamn mind in Taranto. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with being a humble man in a humble town who likes the humble team there. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But Taranto are not... Listen, this man will never see them play a game in Serie A. And that's, fine. That's fine. I'm not rubbing it in, but there are different levels of experience that you can have in Italian football, okay? You could be a guy who supports your local team, okay? And you could just be waiting for them to die, basically, because that's what supporting a club like Taranto is, by the way. It's just like an abusive relationship almost, where it's like there's like this weird thing going on. There's a weird dynamic where at any given moment, this team could abandon you in the form of bankruptcy. They could just disappear, gone. You have this like great dependency on them, and then one day they're gone. And if your life revolves around them, then your life is over when they're gone. So, here's the thing about Taranto. I've never been there, and God willing, I'll never have to go there. Okay, from what I understand, it is a fucking dump, and it is not a nice city to be in. Okay, it's a massive city. It was a port city. It still is, I guess. But they, I don't know. There's a reason why a lot of you guys will have never heard of it, despite how huge of a city it is. Here's the thing. Hypothetically, they could go up at some point. They could. They won't, but they could. Okay, it's too hard to go up. The odds that they will be one of the few that gets up to Serie A is like very low. Okay, but hypothetically they could. And then if they do, okay, if they do get up, if a club like them were to get up, because every couple of years you have a club like them who gets up to Serie A, you have Inter competing in the same league as these fucks, okay? These old dogs who are going to the stadium, who are, on death's door, who are senile, practically. And that's it. That's Italian football in a nutshell. That is Italian football in a nutshell. It's just the world of haves and have-nots. You might say Inter is a big club. Taranto isn't. I get it. Taranto's in a big city. Big enough. Way big enough to have played in Serie A once in the last 20 years. One season, dude. Very big city. Very important city. Nothing. They get nothing out of there. So, just funny because, so again, here's the funny thing about this guy. So his rant goes viral. And, you could just imagine, by the way, being the guys managing this humble little club in Taranto, okay? A Serie C club in a bad spot, okay? They're caught between a rock and a hard place. Their stadium was, burned down. They need to come up with emergency measures to make things right. They finally come up with a solution that, adheres to, all the red tape rules in Italy. And some old fuck, who they're probably thinking, can we euthanize this guy? Jesus Christ, fuck, what's he doing? Ruining our plans. Can somebody put this guy down? Put him out of his misery. Is what a lot of these people are probably thinking. So this old man comes out and just starts lambasting them. Now the club is faced with you have any idea the amount of pressure that this club probably faced now to go back on the decision? Just because optically, people are now writing in saying, hey, what you're doing is shameful. You're going to kill this poor old bastard. It's hey, maybe good, put him out of his fucking misery. His soccer team starts playing somewhere else and he breaks down and says, it's the only thing I got to live for. It's dude, you don't have kids. That's on you. I'm going to assume they didn't all die, I'm going to assume he didn't have kids and his wife and kids died in a car accident. I mean, it's hypothetically possible. He says he has nothing left in his life, nothing else in his life. I'm going to assume maybe just doesn't have kids, This is not a guy who we need to idolize and say, grande no, he could be a freak, okay? He might have been an incel. If it's 2023, okay, and this guy, 2024, whatever year it is, and this guy's my age, this guy's probably never had pussy. He's probably never had pussy. He likes his local team too much. If you like your local team a little too much, you don't have a ton going on. It's just what it is, okay? If you're too proud of your town and you think that your town is the best, and I'm not saying that's what this guy's doing, but I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he's fucking relatively proud of the town for him to go to every goddamn game, right? He's saying he's a season ticket holder for 75 years. He's a dinosaur, and he's one of a handful of people, probably, that has done this. They just stuck a camera in the poor fuck's face, and now the club, have had to kind of walk it back. They had to walk it back. They had to make amends with this guy. So I heard rumors, and this is a club, by the way. The stadium is named Lo Stadio Erasmo Jovellino or something. Erasmo, okay? They're naming the fucking stadium after a guy named Erasmo. Nothing good is ever going to happen to this fucking club. I mean, just put a bullet in the back of this club's head, for Christ's sake. I mean, burn the whole club down with the stadium. They have no infrastructure and they got nowhere to play but 300 kilometers away in Le fucking Marche. God knows where. They're 2 years away from going bust at that point, right? I'm actually reading that they're well run is what I'm seeing. I don't know why or how. Apparently they're well run. So, I don't know. But this fucking guy gets escorted and trotted out at a press conference by their manager, who I'm going to read you his name here. I saw it the other day. I forgot what it is, but it's incredible. It's a great name. Here we go. These days, the fans of Taranto are experiencing quite difficult times due to the works that will affect the stadium. To send a message to the company, Ezziolino Capuano, the coach of the Rossoblu, decided to bring with him to the press conference Carmine, an 85-year-old man who made himself known to the general public for his appeal in recent days. The Apulian had been caught in tears while talking about his love for the team and how he's against the choice to move home games to Teramo. Okay, Teramo. So where is that? I think that's in like Le Marche or like maybe Abruzzo. 300 kilometers. But it's not really that bad. It's like a fucking 3-hour drive, dude. It's pretty manageable. Anyway. But, yeah, so the works of the stadium are necessary in view of the Mediterranean Games. Oh, great. Okay, they're hosting the Mediterranean Games. Okay, cool. So great. After the stadium was burned, they kept playing there. They kept playing in a half-burned stadium. It's just they have other obligations for which this will not fly. Great. It looks like a pretty nice stadium, by the way. If not for the fact that it was in Taranto, but yeah. So the coach, Ezziolino Capuano, not Ezio, little Ezio, Ezziolino. Wait, Ezziolino, via qua, ti faccio vedere qualcosa, ti facciamo a focaccia, Ezziolino. I don't know if he's actually from Bari. I'm just kind of doing my best Barese accent. I can't really do a Barese accent. You kind of just have to talk like you have marbles in your mouth. They trotted him out at a press conference as if to say, hey, buddy, please don't off yourself. Don't fucking off yourself. Like he's a Make-A-Wish kid. It's like, how old are you, dude? You're a grown adult. That's the problem with, like, old men is eventually they just revert to, like, children. I was chilling in my basement the other day. No, earlier tonight. This was earlier tonight. I was chilling in my basement in the evening, late afternoon. My grandfather comes by, I don't know where, pops in. And he kind of just, he just pops in out of nowhere, comes down to the basement where I'm working, says hi. And he starts, like, poking around, checking stuff out, seeing, like, how I'm living. And he goes into the bathroom. He's like, before I go, I got to go to the bathroom. Just fucking walks in. Just leaves the seat up. Fucking makes himself at home. Just marks his territory like a dog, dude. Just fucking. I walk into my bathroom later and it's like a dog urinated on the fucking land. I'm like, Jesus Christ. They become messy when they get older. They forgot to put the seat down. You can't listen to a man like this. You got to just say, all right, sorry. But the outrage was too large. And it took the mayor of Brindisi, which is like an hour away, another, large city in Puglia, extending the olive branch. Brindisi plays in the same league, by the way. So I don't know how this is going to, logistically work. But the mayor of Brindisi, I think, offered up some of their infrastructure to the team to play there so that this old man could watch them play. But, I don't know. It's just you're so far. I mean, just the variance of experience from being like a Serie C fan in a relatively large city to being like a fan of Inter, the biggest club in Italy right now, the best club in Italy right now, who's having their ultras, played in a Kanye West song that charts. It's stark. It's crazy, and we're gonna get that, by the way, like in other areas too. Like when the Saudis buy Roma, apparently the Saudis want to take over Roma for €1 billion. I mean, listen, I don't know what Mussolini would have to say about that. That, the Libyans taking back over. I mean, I know they're not Libyans, the Saudis, but it's kind of like, it's like a reverse. It's kind of a nice poetic thing where, like, the Arabs are going to be, like, reinvading Rome. But, yeah, dog, I mean, Christ. That team's going to be really well run at one point. It's basically going to be just, pump money into the club, throw money at the problem, and that'll solve it. And then you're gonna have Aurelio De Laurentiis, excuse me, who's micromanaging still. I mean, Walter Mazzarri got fired the other day, and bro, oh my god. So the reason I wanted to wait to put this pod out is because I actually didn't want to talk about this guy, and then have him go like kill Barcelona 3-0. So Napoli drew Barca 1-1 in the Champions League. Good result. I mean, it was at home, but decent result. They got, got a goal on the board on aggregate. That's excellent. De Laurentiis fucking fumbled it, man. I mean, he should have just, given Spalletti a blank checkbook, said, stay on, let him walk, fine, no problem. Appointed Rudy Garcia, which was a weird appointment. Appointed Mazzarri, who did worse than Garcia. And now he fired Mazzarri and hired Francesco Calzoni, who I'll just say, I do not know. Did not know. Apparently he was a coach at the club under, I guess, Sarri and against Spalletti, so he was like an assistant. The only head coaching job I think he's had in his career is with the Slovak national team, a position which he was poached from now, which he holds to this day. And apparently he will be coaching them at the Euro. The FA in Slovakia signed off on it. Like he's playing Football Manager. I mean, it's beautiful. Fucking beautiful. You never see this shit anymore. I mean, it doesn't exist. It's like my fucking latest Football Manager save. He's from fucking Vibo Valentia, dude. He's from fucking Vibo Valentia, Calabria. It's like the poorest region in Calabria. He looks like a fuck. I mean, look at this guy. I'll throw up a picture of him. He looks like a fucking. This guy looks like a fucking fisherman. This guy looks like he fishes octopus. He's fucking tanned. He's bald. He looks like my Tio Massino. I know that'll mean nothing to you guys, but he does. He's like the most Calabrian man ever. He's taking over fucking Napoli. I enjoy that, But it's like, hey. The Scudetto was kind of a fluke. It was like you caught lightning in a bottle and you won, and that's it. You're going to have a really hard time fucking winning again if you're going to run this team like a fucking dog, like a dog and pony show. Or a horse. I don't know. What's the term? I don't know. Like a dog race. There. I just invented a word. You're going to run like a fucking dog race, dude. Fucking go down to Napoli, it's like you're at the dog track. Surprised they don't start racing, they might start racing greyhounds on that track at the San Paulo. Sorry, Maradona. Don't speak his name in vain. Fucking freaks. Dude. So while that's happening, Roma are going to scale up, and it's going to happen outside of the realm of Italian leadership. Meanwhile, De Laurentiis is going to fucking fire, Calzoni at the end of the year. Let him go coach Slovakia. That's why he's staying on at Slovakia, by the way, because he knows he's toast. He knows he's dead in the water. He knows he's not getting, kept on at Napoli. That's why he's going to, coach Slovakia to the Euro, where he, I think, deserves to be. I think he got there pretty, handily in qualifying. Qualified before the, final playoff, which is for Slovakia. Great. Is Martin Skrtel still playing for them? He might be, actually. I want to look him up. Fuck, how old is that guy? But, I mean, yeah, you're going to have one team run by the Saudi investment fund. You're going to have another team run by fucking Aurelio De Laurentiis, who's about 3 months away from appointing Giada De Laurentiis as fucking, president of football operations. It's going to happen at some point, dude, that he does something crazy like that. And we have not yet seen the craziest thing that Aurelio De Laurentiis will ever do. He's going to do something crazy again at some point that's going to top everything else that's ever been done. Okay, Skrtel's retired. That makes sense. He's 39. Christ. Anyway. Slovakia, Who the fuck is Calzoni, dude? He's like one of these guys that goes and coaches an Eastern European country. And, hopes for success, But has never really had any success in Italian football, right? Like, who's that coach of? The guy who coaches, Hungary, the guy who coaches Albania. I think they're all Italians. And, Calzoni's just some guy. He's just some fucking guy, dude. That De Laurentiis decided to appoint because he kind of knows him, and it's like, hey, we'll see what happens here, but we're not expecting anything big. And he looks like he looks like he fucking fishes for octopus with his bare hands and kills them on the rocks. So you're going to have one club run like that, and then you're going to have Roma, who are going to sign Pep Guardiola. That's what's going to happen. Heed my words, I'm going to sign fucking Pep Guardiola, bro. They will. And here's the Pax Romana, okay? the piece that they're going to have to make with it is it's going to be owned by a foreign power, okay? Sorry, it's what it is, but you're going to be owned by a foreign power and you're going to dominate Europe like you once did. The Roman Empire is back. It's just going to be under the guise of the people that, you guys once, if you hadn't conquered, you were knocking on the door of Saudi Arabia. You know what I mean? So, fuck, dude. But again, man, like, Napoli, honest to Christ, it's not that outside the realm of possibility that if, like, Saudi Arabia takes over Roma, and it appears will, because they get whatever they want. The disparity between like a Napoli and a Roma is gonna grow to something akin to. It's gonna be more akin to the disparity between Taranto and Inter right now, okay? Than it will be akin to the current dynamic, where Roma and Napoli aren't really all that far off. After the Saudi deal goes through, dude, Roma to the moon. It's done. Napoli will continue to languish. They can't sell to a conglomerate. Man, most of these like southern clubs can't. Most of these clubs can't, period. The reason that Roma can is because they're situated in Rome and it's an epicenter. It's less relevant who owns the team than in a small town where some little scumbag owning your team can, deeply screw you over. Whereas in this case, if the Saudi investment fund owns Roma, it can and will only benefit them as fans, So, yeah, man, I don't know. But like the mayor of Brindisi, dude, just came out of nowhere and said, sorry, old man, look, we'll throw you guys a bone. Taranto, come play in our stadium. He's fucking... Imagine being like a guy who works the concessions at the stadium in Brindisi who's got to work one every 2 weeks. Now he's like, fuck, I got to work every fucking week now. What the hell's going on? He's like, wait, what? Sorry, who signed off on this? It's like fucking management of like the venue. Like, wait, what? I'm sorry, what are we doing? We're working double time now? I don't know, bro. I don't know, guy. Hope this was enjoyable. Please like and subscribe to the pod if you are new. Helps us out. Toss a like on this video. And we'll be back next week with regular programming at, regular cadence. Dilo and I should be good to get something in together. And we'll be back on the horse. But I hope you guys have enjoyed all the bonus content over recent weeks. We always like to do that when we get people that are, that are a little different from what we typically will do on the show. We like to put those out as additional episodes so that we could have episodes like this where we talk about the important things and, yeah, man, just break down a little calcio. It's nice to talk calcio a little bit once in a while, to the extent that I know how. Anyway, listeners, appreciate you tuning in. You can follow me at I'm Sam Adamo. We will be doing some cool shit on the pod in the coming weeks. Again, just maybe some Azzurri talk, bro. Fucking international breaks coming up. We're gonna have a lot of fun stuff planned for that, I think, because we always do, But we're going to try to make it particularly special this time around. So stay tuned for that. Please keep tuning into the pod. Much love to you all for tuning in. And until next time, alla prossima. Ciao.